the only way that this could be is either my grandparents had an affair or my dad isn't my dad. And it was like a light bulb went off.
Hello, you are listening to NPE Stories. This is a podcast where NPEs can share their story. I am your host, Lily, and I found out I was an NPE through an ancestry DNA test that changed my life forever. NPE is a term that stands for Not Parent Expected or Non-Paternal Event. This means that one or more of our parents are not who we believe them to be. NPE Stories is a podcast where NPEs can share their story of what their original family was like, how they found out they were an NPE, and what their journey has been like since the day they found out. Welcome to episode 156. I have two resources I wanted to mention at the beginning of this episode, and I am getting very excited for the Untangling Our Roots Summit, which will be happening here in just a couple weeks. It will be happening in Louisville, Kentucky, March 30th through April 1st. And it will be our first ever summit to unite the NPE communities along with the adoptees and the assisted reproductive communities. So maybe I will see your face there. Please feel free to come introduce yourself to me. I'll be speaking and I'll be at the meet and greet tables for the podcasters as well. I just went to a Zoom call for NPEs 2 weeks ago, and it was so wonderful. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I asked the person that ran this Zoom community for NPEs, and she said she would welcome more people to join her. So if you are an NPE, I believe it's also for adoptees as well, and you have an hour or an hour and a half free on a Tuesday night, I might get the time wrong. I believe it was 7 p.m. Central Time. There is an NPE Zoom call that was so helpful for me, run by Dr. Krista Driver. And she is a NPE and adoptee herself, and she runs the Mariposa Center in California. If you're interested in ever sitting in on her Zoom call, feel free to be just a lurker, or you could participate as well. I found it so healing. Let me find her email address, and it will be in the show description below. Okay, Dr. Krista Driver. You can email kdriver@mariposacenter.org, and maybe in the subject line put the NPE Zoom call, and she can help direct you into participating in that on Tuesdays. It was wonderful. One last thing I wanted to mention was I had an email come through last week, and she asked me to read it out loud from an NPE, an anonymous NPE. I get so many emails, and I rarely read them out loud, but she did ask me to read this out loud for her, so I will. And it says, Lily, I want you to know how very much your podcast has helped me through my 14-month journey. I, too, have listened to every podcast, some several times, and I look forward to each next one. Only my husband and our 2 sons know. My husband doesn't understand why this was such a big thing for me to deal with. Everyone has passed. Birth mother, birth certificate father, birth father, half siblings like the half sister and the half brother. I have had contact with 2 half nephews and a couple of second cousins, but at age 78, I don't feel a need to have a real relationship. One second cousin helped me tremendously, and I have met her and we are kindred spirits. Thank God for DNA angels who confirmed who my father was. I just wanted you to know you are making a huge difference in the lives of NPEs, even if we don't want to come forward to announce our status publicly. I would love it if you would read this on your podcast. There may be many others that want to remain anonymous, but continue to find some sort of emotional support through your podcast. Thank you again, a forever grateful NPE listener. Well, thank you so much, grateful NPE listener. You know, I was anonymous too. My very first year of doing this podcast, I would only come on and say my name was Lily, and I wouldn't even use my last name. And I was only a lurker on the sites as well. So I understand everyone is in a different place when it comes to their NPE story. And on this podcast, we listen to NPE stories. I have an NPE on with me today. And today I'm speaking with Crystal. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, Lily.
Oh, it's so nice we were able to make this work this time around.
I know we've had a couple complications trying to get
Yes.
together, but it finally came together.
Yes. And I follow you on social media, by the way. It looks like you are also a podcaster,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. I am. I have it's like a talk podcast with my wife, and we interview people because I feel like you can learn something from everyone. So we kind of just let people share their stories in general.
I love it. Have you talked about your NPE story?
I have not, and I'll get to, I guess, in my story kind of why I haven't yet, but
Okay.
I think in the future there's a possibility.
Okay. Well, since I mentioned your podcast, did you want to throw out the name of it or prefer to keep that quiet? What do
Yeah,
you
it's called Truth Camp.
Truth Camp? Awesome. Maybe I'll throw a link in that below. What can you find that on Spotify or
Yes,
Apple
it's on
Podcast?
Spotify, it's on YouTube actually, and we have on other streaming platforms. I don't think it's on Apple. That's the only one we haven't got it up yet on.
Oh, that's great. Truth Camp. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for mentioning that one. And we'll go through your NPE story today. You're an NPE, correct? I
Correct.
wasn't sure. Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if you're adoptee, donor conceived individual.
Yep. Nope. An MPE.
Okay. So, how we normally start on here is to get an idea about your family of origin, just to know if you had brothers or sisters and parents in your life growing up, and even be helpful to say kind of what time frame and where in the country you're from. So I'll kind
Okay.
of take it. I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. Thanks, Lily. So I grew up in the early '80s. That's when I was born in Western Pennsylvania. I thought I had somewhat of like a normal, I guess, childhood. I think I always thought just, families had issues here and there, and I wasn't any different than any other family having issues within their family. Um, I was an I was raised an only child, so I did not have siblings growing up. My Just to get like a little sense of the parents that raised me, my mom, she was always super anxious, very overprotective, really struggled with depression and anxiety. And I mean, when I was a kid, I really didn't understand a lot of it, but now as an adult, I know a lot of the things she went through growing up. um, Her mother left her at a very young age, left 5 children with their father. And so she was raised by a dad that worked nonstop, had a stepmother that wasn't much older than her come in and really took the place of her mother. But she also had some sexual abuse from people that would watch her. So she had a pretty tough childhood growing up. And my dad that raised me, and I'll call him my birth certificate father. I'll call him my dad on this, just so people know. He was always like more laid back, kind of quiet, and I could see why my mom kind of picked him now, just because I think it was like that stability that she needed in her life. He always worked very hard, and he's just that typical like kind of quiet guy that just goes to work. He didn't talk a lot about emotions and stuff, but he was always there for us and always worked super hard. When I was growing up, I was always like what they call a tomboy. I love sports. I played sports with my dad all the time. We'd always play ball in the backyard, and I just always kind of connected with that with him, and we would go to like hockey games. I was really big into hockey. He would even take me to sometimes watch the Pittsburgh Penguins practices. Like we would go and I'd get to meet the players before they go into
Cool.
practice and stuff. And so we really bonded over hockey. That was like a big thing in our lives. And then I guess I started having some issues, I want to say around like middle school time frame. I remember having some big like identity issues. And I remember thinking that my dad wasn't my dad. And I had absolutely no reason to like think that, but it's so validating, I think, now knowing that. I had an issue. I don't know if you're familiar with trichotillomania, where you pull hair out whenever some people are anxious. They might pull their like hair out of their head. I always pulled my like eyebrows and eyelashes out. So there was a period, I think I was like in 7th or 8th grade, where I like had no eyebrows and no eyelashes. I pulled them all out because my anxiety was so bad. So my mom sought therapy. I think she was kind of frustrated. She didn't understand what I was going through, and she was dealing with a lot because her dad was passing away. He got cancer. He had multiple strokes, and her dad was her life. So I think she was going through a lot, and I was going through a lot. And I just remember that being a really, really tough time for me. And on top of that, my dad's job, he ended up getting transferred to a different state, which it wasn't super far away from where I live, but far enough where I would have to like switch schools and stuff. It was about an hour away. So we ended up moving to a new school in a different state. And I think like all that combined, it just really kind of set me in a depression state. Um, and it was really hard for me back then to be myself. Like I felt like I always just wanted to like fit in. And I kind of look a little bit like my mother. My mom would always say how much I look like her, but I didn't really, back then, I didn't really see it that much. But I knew I never looked like my dad. And she would always say like, oh, you get your red hair from my cousins, you get this, but I never saw like my nose and stuff. I didn't look like anyone in my family. So I kind of always struggled with my looks, and I was kind of like more of a bulky, um, like athletic shape. And I didn't appreciate it really because my parents both were really skinny. And I thought like, well, what's wrong with me? Why am I so like big and they're so like little? And so I think just a lot of that identity stuff, like you're trying to find out who you are those ages. And I think when you don't have that, you definitely are missing something. And I think that's one thing that people who aren't NPs, like that's probably hard for them to understand that.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, completely. I have a middle schooler right now. So I'm just thinking back, imagining you as a middle schooler, Crystal, and the anxiety, pulling your eyebrows and eyelashes out. Oh, it kills me
I know.
when children are hurting and going through anxiety. Oh, okay. So you moved to this new state. You were an only child.
I'll go through just a little bit more just to kind of get you up to date. So I ended up graduating in that new school and everything. Um, I struggled really hard in my early 20s with alcohol issues. Like, I think I just, instead of trying to cope with things, I went that route. And I ended up finding a guy that was like my best friend, and we ended up getting married. And um, it didn't end up working out. And I want to say, like, we were married for almost 6 years. We were together for almost 10 years. And we both just decided that it would be better if we got divorced. And whenever I got divorced, I ended up coming out as being gay, bisexual. Um, and that was really life changing for me. It really felt like a rock was like lifted off of me, because I grew up in a time when you couldn't come out as being gay, especially like in the area I lived in. It was like in West Virginia. So it was not something that you like would say to people back in the 90s and 2000, early 2000s.
Mhm.
So when I was in my early 30s, whenever I came out, and it was like I got to start life over almost. And I
Mm.
really feel like from that moment on, I was in a good place, because I found out my NPE stuff after I met my current wife. And I'm so happy that like when I did find out that it was then, because I couldn't even imagine what would have happened if I would have found out when I was going through all the depression stuff growing up. It would have been really difficult.
Yeah. When did you find out? Has it been a few years?
Yeah, it was in May of 2021 is when I
Oh,
consider my NPE kind of anniversary date. I took the 23andMe test back in 2017, though. So
oh.
yeah,
But you didn't figure it out through that.
yeah, I did. So when it was 2017, I like to tell people I was going through a lot. Like I just bought a house. I just got married. I didn't really like look too much into the results. Like I didn't really overthink it because I was told growing up, like, oh, they call it like a Heinz 57, like you're a mix, a mutt of like different DNA. So I knew there was a few different things that I like should look for on there, but I wasn't anything like crazy different. So I didn't have any super red flags, but one thing that's kind of interesting, and this kind of this is like one of the coolest things about it, is I had this like love for German culture. I took German in middle school. Like you had the chance in eighth grade to opt out of English, and you could do a semester of Spanish, French, and German. And German, as soon as I took it, I just like loved it. I love the culture. I even took German in college. I took 2 years of it. I've been to Germany. And this whole time, I really didn't think I had any German in me. And then when I got the results back, I was half German.
Oh, wow.
So that was like, I just kind of thought that was so cool. I'm like, this is awesome. Like I'm German and I never even knew it. And I like love German stuff. So I was kind of excited about that. And I just thought, well, maybe my parents just thought like they were from Poland, but it's right next door. Maybe they were really from Germany or something.
Yep.
So I didn't really like overthink that. But how I kind of found out was a cousin popped up on my 23andMe, and she reached out to me and talked to me a couple times, and we were just trying to like figure out like how could you be my cousin? It's saying you're my first cousin. I've never heard this last name before. And then her dad took the test and he showed up as my uncle. And so I was having, and then I think her sister did too. So I had like a whole family, and I'm just like, how can these people? And they were from where I was from.
And they were all
So
strangers to
yeah,
you.
they were all strangers. So one night, I want to say it was 2 days actually before Mother's Day in May. And me and this cousin, we were just writing back and forth. And I remember it was the first time the thought in my mind crossed like, the only way that this could be is either my grandparents had an affair or my dad isn't my dad. And it was like a light bulb went off. So I messaged her again on 23andMe and I was like, if you don't mind sharing your phone number, I'd like to like talk to you, like text you, because I just think it would be easier. Because we would send messages and it would be like months that would go by because you don't really chat that much on 23andMe. So she's like, yeah, definitely. And she thought the same thing. She actually thought it earlier, but she didn't want to be the one that told me. She said she kind of wanted me to like figure it out on my own. But she said her family was talking about it the prior Christmas, about that there could be someone else in the family. So we ended up setting a date that her sister and her were going to meet us at a restaurant, me and my wife. And I was so nervous meeting them. Like I remember that day, like I was just petrified of are they going to like be okay with this? How is this going to go? And they seemed really nice, like in messages and stuff, but I still was like just so nervous. And I looked so much like them. That's what was like,
Wow.
I like knew as soon as I saw her, I'm like, I have to be related to her. Like I
Wow.
couldn't believe how much I looked like her. So she was telling me they were trying to figure out, they had a big family, and she knew that her dad wasn't my dad because he popped up as an uncle. So it had to be one of his brothers. And she was like, I think it's either this brother or this brother. And we really think it's the youngest in the family because she said it would have just made the most sense with timeline wise. So I ended up messaging a few people. I found what would have been my half brother on Facebook, and I never was really pushy in my messages. I always just kind of like said, I found these results. Like, I'm just interested in a conversation. Like, I never tried to like push myself or make people anxious because I understand it's a lot for other people too, to deal with. And um, my half brother, he ended up messaging me back and we had some conversations, and I was over my cousin's for I think it was Father's Day. So that would have been about a month after I met her the first time. And he messaged me because he was going to go over there, and he said, would you come to my house instead? I just want to talk to you like in person. And I was like, definitely. Cause I just wanted to get some answers. And I knew he knows his dad better than anyone. So at least I can kind of get his take on all of this. And, so I remember that first meeting. I pulled up at his house and I was obviously nervous meeting him too, but he was so like just straightforward and just honest, and just like he didn't sugarcoat anything. He did not have a good relationship with his father. He was abused as a child, and that just like breaks my heart for him. Some of the stuff to hear that he like went through, and he he has another we have another brother that's the same age as me. So he was married to their mother at the time that my mom had like a one night stand with him, and my mom didn't know that he was married at the time. Um, and he wasn't surprised. Like he even said, he's like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more children out there, like just the way he was. And he would try to have a relationship with him in his adult life. And he said he actually just started almost talking to him again. They just started mending their adult relationship. And then this happened. And my brother was in AA. So he was really on a good path of changing his life. And he just wanted to be very truthful. And he wanted his dad to just like accept this and like own up to it. And his dad would not. And my brother's just a very honest guy, and he just wouldn't take that. He has children of his own. He has 3 kids, and he didn't want to put his kids in the middle of everything. So, a few months after I kind of came into the picture of their lives and they decided they wanted to have relationships with me, they kind of had a falling out with their dad, and they cut him out totally out of their lives. So it was a lot of emotion stuff. And then I felt guilt of, um, them not being able to have a relationship with their dad and him acting like that. And he just didn't seem like a good person. But at the same time, I did want to like meet him just because he's my biological father. And I just like wanted to get my own sense of who he was. And I, man, that happened a little bit after I think it was my 38th or 39th birthday. All of that went down. And what's kind of crazy is I have an amazing relationship with my half brothers, both of them. It took a little bit of time, but they really consider me their family. Like I go to their like Thanksgiving stuff, their Christmas, like we meet up. I see the kids going to their games. And since I was raised like an only child, like it means so much to me to have them, like, and the kids too, like they mean the world to me. I went trick-or-treating the last 2 years with them, and
Oh.
They're wonderful. The kids are so cool, and like we look so much alike. I mean, me and my brother, that's the same age as me, we could be almost twins. It's pretty wild.
Oh my gosh.
So I also, what he told me was we have a half sister that is significantly younger. There was a 15-year age gap between him and her, so she's in her early 20s. And my biological father is on his third marriage. So she was with his second wife.
Okay.
And she lives a little bit a distance, probably about an hour and a half from where I grew up. So a little bit away from them. And they really didn't have a good relationship with her. And my kind of take on it is they kind of got two different dads, like two different versions, because he was, I want to say he was like 16 or 17 when he had his first child. And I mean, obviously, I think he would have been in his 30s when he had her. And she has a very close relationship with him. And I tried to message her a few times on social media, and she never would respond.
That's
So they weren't
frustrating.
surprised by that.
Was it red?
Yeah. Yeah. She read
Oh,
them. She just would not write back. And that,
okay.
I mean, it hurt. It
Yeah.
kind of sucked. But she was also, I mean, at where she was at in her life, she was just got married, just was having her first child, was pregnant. So she was going through a lot. And, of, I guess I'll kind of fast forward to, last year. So that was like about a year's time span where I started getting really close to my brothers. And then, what's kind of crazy, it's a year to this date. I had a little Chihuahua dog that was like, he was like my life. Like he been through so much with me because I got him when I was in my early 20s. So he was my world. He had congestive heart failure and he passed away a year to this date.
Oh, I'm
And
so sorry, Crystal.
thank you. He was my baby.
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I feel like he almost had a hand in this, but I can't even make this up. Like within a couple days of his passing away, my biological father messaged me on Facebook out of nowhere. Like I never heard anything from him. And he sent me a message that said, basically, if I want to talk to him, he's ready. And he gave me his phone number. And I sat on it for a little bit, like just because I meant, too, I was in not the best emotional state after just losing my dog. And him waiting, I mean, it was almost 2 years he waited to like get a hold of me. But I understand too, I think some people need more time than others. And I just did want to kind of hear his side of the story. And more than anything, I just think I don't mind hearing what other people have, like their opinions. And of course, that's meaningful to me to hear their stories. But I also want to make my own perceptions and see how I feel about him. I feel like I'm a good judge of character, and I'd get a good sense, especially if I was in person with him. So I did message him and we planned a date to meet up. And almost immediately after he messaged me, my sister ended up messaging me too. So I think she was kind of just waiting for his okay, since they're really close. And we ended up arranging a meetup at her house. And my wife came with me. Uh, it was the first time I was meeting my sister, and I showed up, and we look a lot alike too. My brothers always would say that when they'd see me, they're like, I can't believe how much you look like our sister. Like it's crazy. Um, and so when he pulled up, he brought a rose for me and gave me like a big hug. And it was like a nice first meeting. And as much as I would think it would be awkward, all these times, like you're meeting these strangers, but it really it just didn't feel awkward. Like it really feels like family. It's weird to say that, like, because like I said, they're strangers really, but um it was really nice just being in his presence and just like seeing his mannerisms. My wife would say how weird, like even with my brothers and stuff, she's like, it's so strange because you guys like do the same thing, or like the way you guys say this. And um uh it we had like we just had a nice like lunch together. We spent some time. He did I think he's kind of like my father in the sense that generation, they aren't big on emotions. He didn't really ever bring up anything about the whole NP situation. Um and I didn't want to press anything. I didn't really want to like push on conversations. It was the first time meeting him, and we ended up going after that, like we would text from time to time, and we met up one other time that summer. We went to his wife's, she has like a cabin place, and we went on a boat with him, and that was really nice. He told me that time, like, he's like, I want you to know I consider you like a daughter. Like, I don't want you to feel like different. And he was really like adamant about just like wanting me to know I was accepted, which felt good. Um, but it's also, I kind of take it for what it is. We don't like, it's been since August since I've seen him, and it's, what is this now? March and
March,
March,
yeah.
yeah. So I don't see him often. He doesn't live super close. He's a couple hours away, but I feel like if people really want to put in an effort, they will. And um, I just think he's, from what I've heard, he's very big on appearance. Like I think it was like he didn't want to look bad in this whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think when he was ready, he accepted it. But I don't know how, if we'll ever have like a close relationship, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. I have a dad. I mean, my father's my father. Um, and I am so happy. I think out of all of this, the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway is my brothers, like, their mom too, who she was cheated on, and she is like a rock in my life. I love her to death. She treats me like a daughter. And
Wow.
I think it took her a little while to get okay with it too. But when she really was. And she kind of told me more about their relationship and him. And I really do like appreciate her so much. Like she's,
Mm.
like I said, she's just an amazing person.
Oh, wow. And that's really sweet that she's bonded with you as well.
Yeah.
Is she the mother to both of your half brothers? Or
Yes.
just oh, she is. So okay, so your brothers are full siblings to each other.
Yeah.
Now, how about your mom and dad? Do they know? Did you ever talk with them about you finding out your results?
Yeah. So, it's a little more complicated with my family. Um, me and me and my mother have always had, um, kind of an up and down relationship. I think it's just that natural mother daughter kind of tension stuff. We've had very good times. We've had some pretty bad times, but I would say me and her have always been very close though. I know she loves me to death, and I know, I can count on her. So whenever I did find out, um, I did approach her before I even found out and showed her my 23andMe, and she saw it and completely straight faced didn't say anything. So she knew before I figured it out that I wasn't his. Um, but I think now that we've had conversations, I think she knew deep down anyways, like before that, but I just don't think she wanted to believe it herself.
Mm.
But I did end up approaching her once I met my cousin and like really found out, because I just wanted to hear her take on it and know like what happened. And she was very honest. She cried and said that she was sorry for even like lying to me once she says like found out like whenever I approached her, but she said she couldn't believe it whenever she saw that last name pop up. And I I think from what she was saying, her and my dad were dating at the time, and they kind of broke up, and they would be back and forth. Um, and she ended up going out to a bar, met this guy. They had a one night stand, and then she got pregnant, and she thought it could have been my dad. It could have been him. She didn't really know 100%. But the one thing she did tell me was she did end up approaching him. I think it was right after I was born, because she knew what bar I guess he frequented this bar. And she ended up going to him with a picture of me and said, "This could be your daughter. Um, would you do a DNA test?" And he said, "Absolutely not. I only make boys."
Oh.
And his wife was pregnant at the time with my other brother. So she didn't know, but I guess like there was like a bunch of stuff that went on with that too. I think his wife at the time found out some things, and they were kind of going after my mom too, because she was obviously upset. And I don't know if my mom just kind of like chalked that up to just like, nope, I'm just not even going to deal with it then, since he didn't want anything to do with her. I'm just going forward with, you know, this other guy, and my dad is a good guy. And I think that she ended up telling him my dad was like on board with having a kid, and they got married shortly after that.
Oh, after you were born,
No,
they got married.
after my mom was pregnant.
Okay. Does your dad um does he know you're not biologically his?
He does not know.
Okay.
Me and my mom, we talked about it, and for the first year I was kind of angry. I wanted him to know. I really did. Like, I just wanted to, I just thought he had, and I think there's a part that he does have a right to know, but at the same time, I know my dad, and I just think my mom, from what she's told me, she has even in arguments, she said in the past, she one time left and said, like, Crystal isn't even your kid. So she has said things to him and I think deep down he might know, but he
Mhm.
chooses to still love me and treat me like his
Yeah.
daughter. And I think the only thing it would do is hurt him.
Yeah.
So I've come to a place where I'm at peace with not him not knowing.
Yeah. I speak with so many NPEs in this same situation. I get it. I'm assuming your parents are still together to this
Yes.
day?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
still together.
Yeah.
And I have a very like, I see them weekly. They don't live very
Oh,
far from me.
yeah.
And I'm all they really have. They don't have any other children. So,
And so here you're going through all of this, but yeah, you probably can't talk about this on your podcast. You can't openly talk about your new half brother relationship you've built, or I mean, maybe you can, but it sounds like if you don't want your dad to know.
yeah, that's it's been a little bit difficult. I have a very good support system. My wife, she's amazing. Like, she went through, I couldn't even imagine going through this without her, because she was with me every step of the way, and like really just always like brought my spirits up when I was like feeling down.
Oh.
And my mom too, like, she is very open. Like, I can talk to her about my siblings and stuff, and she's come to a place to be very like happy for me that I have
Oh.
them.
Oh.
Um and I don't openly like really talk about it, but I do talk about it with my friends. And like, I am a personal trainer, so I have clients, and they kind of it's kind of funny, because I would kind of talk to them about what I was going through. Obviously, you have these intimate sessions with people, so
Yeah.
they kind of followed my journey through all the ups and downs and steps too. So I did get a lot of like at least opinions and um good feedback from people and just
Yeah.
that support. And I think that's very helpful too, even if I can't really talk about it. But I don't tell my brothers and stuff like, hey, you can't post things, because I just don't think it's fair to me. And I told my mom that like, this is your responsibility. If he finds out, like, this isn't my secret to keep.
Yep.
So she's well, like, aware of that. And I told her, like, if she ever wanted to have a conversation with him, I'm totally open to, like, being there if she needs help. Um, I think my mom really would benefit in going through therapy, because she still goes through a lot of stuff, like, psychologically, that I meant from her childhood and stuff. I couldn't imagine the things that she went through
Hmm.
still stick with her. So
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about that, thinking about your mom, Krista. I was thinking about that with my mom 2 months ago. I was like, how we've created this support system for ourselves. I was like, they need to have some form of therapy modality or community or Facebook group for themselves as well.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yes. But it's not our job to fix them, is it?
True.
So and your wife sounds amazing. I'm so glad you have a supportive, significant other in your life that gets it and supports you through this.
That's super important. I've heard, I mean, even on your podcast, some stories of, like, non-supportive, and that has to be so difficult, because it
Yeah.
it really is a super emotional thing to go through, and having that support can definitely, like, make a huge difference in the
Yeah.
NPE's life for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, really. It's everything. I have a supportive spouse as well. But I had some, comments that stuck with me in the beginning from unsupportive people. And I was like, gosh, if that had come from my spouse, that would have just been a dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, all right. So I wrote down here your beautiful relationship growing with your brothers. I love that. And it sounds like you're just kind of I get the quiet, strange, kind of distant relationship with your birth father, and also I'm guessing your half sister's kind of quiet as well.
Yeah, we don't talk as often. Every once in a while, we'll
Mhm.
send each other a message. I still think she deals with a lot too, and I think she really needs some help as well, just with her family life and stuff growing up. And she's young. I'm hoping, like, she knows I'm, like, there. Like, I would like to have a, like, relationship with her one day, like, a little bit stronger. But I think that she's just got to kind of figure out who she is and stuff too. She's still, like, in her early 20s.
So, along with your support system you have in your life, have you ever been on any of the support group forums, or do you follow anyone through social media regarding your NPE?
Yeah, definitely. That was a huge, huge help, especially, like, in the beginning whenever I first found out. I think I can't remember exactly which groups. There's, like, a couple that I found immediately, and it was just so reassuring. I think it just made me feel less alone in it, because I remember that feeling of just, like, almost like embarrassment, and, like, am I, like, the only one this happens to? And then you go in these groups and you're like, wow, there's a lot of us out here. And
Mhm.
I remember reading Danny Shapiro's book too. That was a huge, huge help for me in the beginning. That book just, it was just like being able to connect with those feelings that she describes, like, in each event. And you're like, wow, that's how I felt. Like, that meant the world to me. But definitely having the Facebook support groups, they were so helpful. I haven't had a chance. I wish there was more people that I knew, like, locally, so I could
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
meet people, but I haven't been able to go to any of the retreats or anything yet, but I would love that one day.
Yeah. Yeah, the national retreats are a little bit more tricky because they might require like a plane ticket and a hotel room. Although I have been to a couple of them, but yeah, doing a local meet and greet, and it just takes one NPE to figure out the time, the place, and then you have to post it, right? So, somehow you have to post it on one of these like sub-regional NPE groups, or hey, anyone in this state, come on out on. But that But once you do one of those, it feels so good. I've shown up a couple times at restaurants not knowing anyone. And then all of a sudden there's like 8 random NPEs there. And we're just, talking like each other's ears off within minutes. But
yeah, I would love that
yeah,
one day. I'll have to post sometime and see if there's people around me.
right. Yeah. Are you still in the Ohio area?
Yeah, I'm in the Eastern Ohio. So there's
Okay.
like a bunch of, I guess I meant people from like Cleveland,
Oh,
Pittsburgh,
okay.
Youngstown, that kind of area.
Oh, yeah. If I think of anyone that I've met, I'll send them your way. I'll send them your information.
Awesome.
Yes, but also I agree with you about Danny Shapiro's book, because when I had heard about this, people were making these kind of like jokes. I think they're trying to make light of it. And so there was kind of like, oh, a Jerry Springer thing, or, oh, a Maury Povich thing. And I didn't like that. It didn't feel good to me, because I didn't feel like this was drama or entertainment. This was my life, and it hurt. And then when I read Danny Shapiro's book, someone sent me that through Amazon within like a week after finding out about my NPE, Danny Shapiro's book Inheritance. I was like, oh, it was so like elegant and eloquent, and she wrote about her feelings, and I could identify with them, and I'm like, this is more like what I'm feeling. This is the right wording. Yeah. I'll link that book down below as well. That's always a good reminder. She's her book Inheritance. And now people can find you on Truth Camp, but also are you open to people emailing you if people wanted to know more or contact you?
Yes, definitely. I'd love to hear from people. I was on one other NPE podcast. It was probably more early on, so this is like more of an update. I was on The Secret in My DNA.
Oh, is that with Michelle?
Yes, with Michelle. I love Michelle.
Love Michelle. Okay, I'm going to find the episode and I'll link that.
Okay.
Secret.
And yeah, I had a couple people actually message me from that, and it's really awesome hearing from other MPs. So definitely, if anyone wants to message, or it's cool. I've had a couple people that have similar stories, and they'll be like, "I know exactly what you mean about this or that." So I love that.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, there is another NPE has a podcast called The Secret in My DNA. Michelle is the host of that, and she puts on a wonderful podcast. So I will link your episode below, and then I'll put in your contact details for your email address.
Awesome.
As well. Oh my gosh, Krista, thank you so much for doing this today. It's been wonderful, and I love seeing your sweet little. Are those chihuahuas in the background?
Yes. Oh, my
many?
little sleepy babies.
Is that the one of 10?
Yeah.
Adorable. Oh, thank you, Krista. We'll enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Lily. I appreciate it. It's great finally meeting you.
These stories are here for us to identify with. If you are an NPE and would like to share your story, email npestories@gmail.com. You do not have to give any identifying information. If you are an NPE and would like to share your story, I'd like to hear from you. Subscribe to this podcast to hear more. Come heal with us.